Good afternoon. It's Monday, October 20th. I'm Max Brantley here with Arkansas News. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Early voting began today. That means in a little over 2 weeks, the elections and $50 to $100 million worth of crazy advertising will be over. The big news today is that in addition to the fact that voting has begun, you no longer have to show a photo ID to vote thanks to a Supreme Court ruling. I'm hearing a few words about some confusion at the polls, but mostly it seems to be pretty easy to do things like we always used to do it. We've had celebrity endorsers in town for the run-up to early voting. Bill Clinton was in the state over the weekend rallying Democratic candidates. Got a lot of people out in North Little Rock Sunday particularly. Mike Huckabee, you might remember him. He lives in Florida now. He came in today to help some Republican candidates with a little rally down at the River Market. We've got some poll news today. Good news for the Democrats in one particular race in a year that doesn't have a lot of good Democratic news. Pat Hayes, the former mayor of North Little Rock, is shown with about a 4.5-point lead in the Talk Business Hendricks College poll in the 2nd Congressional District race against Republican French Hill, the millionaire banker. I think you can expect a ton of dark money to flood in from Republicans to try and turn that race around. Other polling shows strong support for the minimum wage increase that's headed to the ballot if the Supreme Court allows it, but opposition to the proposal to allow alcohol to be sold in all 75 counties. Some odds and ends in other races. Stacey Hurst, the Republican running in the Heights for State House, seems to be desperate. She and the Republican Party are now forgetting that the U.S. Constitution requires a legal defense for people accused of crimes and saying that it's somehow bad that Clark Tucker, her opponent, once represented somebody in a criminal case. It's a reprehensible thing and un-American besides. Jason Rapert, it was revealed, pulled back from support for some Conway development policies because the city employee up there who was working on them maybe supports Jason Rapert's opponent in the race for state senate. This is sort of extortion, isn't it? Of a political variety anyway. Mark Martin used the state police force under his control at the Capitol and a state office lawyer to cobble up a bogus copyright claim against his opponent, Susan Inman, for merely putting on her website something that had been acquired for the public, a way to look up important voter information. He thinks that's a terrible thing. He thinks criticism is a terrible thing too and thinks it's childish the way people do it. People like himself, of course, is who he means. What else do we have in the news today? Politics forever, but perhaps we should just leave it at that. We had a deadly weekend in Little Rock this weekend. 3 people were killed by gunshot wounds, 1 in a home intrusion, 1 in a drive-by, 1 in another weird circumstance. Perhaps some of these are related. One thing that was particularly troubling about these shootings, all in the South End neighborhood more or less, was a police warning to the media to be careful going into these neighborhoods because of a lot of hostile neighbors and a bad reaction toward the police. Speaking of hostility, there was an arrest in a Conway church Sunday morning because a preacher there refused to leave and refused to obey a restraining order, so they arrested him right there in the Salem Missionary Baptist Church. Finally, tomorrow in Little Rock, look for one last try by people who live out off Taylor Loop Road in West Little Rock to get the Little Rock City Board to change their mind on allowing a giant Murphy Oil 20-pump gas station at Taylor Loop and Highway 10. Bad location with a lot of traffic for a difficult stretch of highway already. The opponents of this have come up with new information, including drone footage and a traffic study that the city previously claimed it didn't have that shows it will have an impact on traffic there. That's the news today. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.